Commander's personal log, stardate 43961.2. I've been assigned as the new first officer on the USS Resolute, a Centaur-class medium cruiser. This is my first assignment on a Centaur-class ship. Senators are reliable, older starships that were brought up to current standards for use against the Dominion. Without ships like this in the fleet, I fear that conflict would have ended poorly for the Federation. The Resolute itself is somewhat of an enigma. The only information I could find were rumors about the saucer section being heavily damaged and returning to Starbase alone after a secret mission. Starfleet's classified all records regarding the ship, and I can find no other details. Most of the crew has been rotated off, save for Captain Solano. The ship itself underwent a 6-month refit with a new engineering hall fitted and upgraded systems. Technically, it's better than new. Perhaps Captain Solano will fill me in on the details. I'm excited to get underway.
Captain's log, stardate 57931.4. The crew is restless. After spending too many months piecing our ship back together, we're finally about to venture out on a new mission. And the crew isn't letting this unprecedented ion storm slow them down. They're ready for something different. I know I am. Perhaps more than any of them. Fortunately, nothing ever stays the same. It's entropy, the nature of the universe. Change is inevitable. And while entropy says order gives way to chaos, in this case, change is good. Our new first officer is en route to the Resolute. Jara Rydek. I know she'll bring a welcome dose of new blood to the crew.
Thanks.
No problem.
I'm not great with flying. But these little shuttles are the worst.
You don't like flying. And yet, you joined Starfleet.
There's a reason I'm not a pilot.
You should try it sometime.
Sorry, I'm a little anxious.
I hadn't noticed.
I'm on my way to my first assignment. When we get to the starbase, I'm transferring on to the Resolute.
So am I.
It won't be easy for Jara to step in at the 11th hour like this. But if she's half the officer I knew she could become when she was a cadet at Starfleet Academy, she'll be the XO this ship needs right now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Katarn here, and let's get started with Star Trek Resurgence. So as you can see, this is a narrative-based game based on Star Trek that is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to play through it. Now, I did my little captain's log at the beginning, or commander's log at the beginning, because I had fun with that. But we're going to be playing as this woman here, and we're going to be the first officer on this ship. Everything I said in the beginning is kind of the setup for the story, so that is all good. And we'll just go through and have fun. I'll try to keep my additions to it as minimal as possible. We'll just make the choices as we go and see where it plays. So thanks so much. I hope you enjoy it.
A starbase on the very edge of Federation space. A long way from home now.
Commander? I'm not usually such a nervous wreck, by the way. I actually did well at the Academy.
Oh yeah?
Maybe you've heard of the Torvalen test?
Sounds familiar.
It's a tactical simulator that makes the Kobayashi Maru look like a picnic on Pintaris 5. Anyway, I finished in the top 20. Not just in my class. I mean, all time. In the history of the Academy.
Really? That's quite impressive.
Thank you. It was tough, but you know, I set my mind to it and it paid off.
Please place your hand here. Hold it there for a few seconds. Welcome, Commander Rydek.
Wait, you're Jara Rydek? You absolutely crushed the Torvalen test. You finished in what, like the top 3?
That would be me.
Now I'm really... It's an honor to meet you, Commander. Sorry, I didn't realize before. I just came off the shuttle and was glad to be on solid ground.
When people say top 3, what they really mean is 3rd place. I'm not first, so there's always room for improvement.
I'll, keep working then.
I believe Commander Ermot is expecting you. He's in the concourse just ahead.
See you on the Resolute. If I remember my briefing, Commander Ermot is a Bolian, so I'm looking for someone with blue skin. Starbase 128 has 4 docks. I'll replicate myself a meal once I'm on board. Excuse me.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, Commander Rydek. I'm Commander Jan Ermot, Operations Officer on the Resolute. Commander? I hope there wasn't too much trouble getting here. This storm isn't making anything easy for us right now. I know conditions are less than ideal at the moment.
It takes more than a little turbulence to rattle me.
I'm sure that's the case. We're grateful you were able to come fill our first officer vacancy at such short notice. From everything I've read and everything I've heard, we're lucky you were available to us. Coming from a premier starship and all. To our local research vessel.
What exactly have you heard about me?
First in your class at the Academy. Received the Starfleet Award of Valor during the Dominion War. Most recently, Tactical Officer and Chief of Security on the USS Endeavor.
You've done your homework.
Like I said, we're very lucky. The USS Resolute. She may not look like much compared to the bigger ships, but as far as science vessels go, she can more than hold her own. And she doesn't look so bad considering 6 months ago she was nearly cracked in half, venting plasma, fighting for her life.
It was an accident?
Equipment malfunction. An accident suggests fault, but no one's to blame. It was a planned test, but the warp core was pushed beyond its limits. It destabilized the dilithium, there was a runaway reaction, and the warp bubble deformed. We thought we could reach a higher resonant frequency, but it was more than she could handle. Cost us our first officer and 22 of our crew. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for each other. That's what it means to be a crew.
To have lost so many lives. That's a high price to pay.
Too high by any estimation. But there's nothing that can be done about it now except get back to work. And make sure it never happens again. Listen. I realize you've known Captain Solana for quite some time. And I'm sure you're ready to bring your best. But I should warn you that when the captain announced you would be the new first officer, there were those who felt it was a mistake, that he should have promoted from within. So you might want to tread lightly at first. Until they come to value your contributions as much as he does.
Trust is earned, and it sounds like I have my work cut out for me. But I plan on winning them over.
I don't doubt that. I just figured it was better to know what you're walking into.
Of course.
Starfleet has assigned us a high-priority mission to the Hotari region. I'll let the captain brief you on board. I know he's eager to see you.
Will we be mission ready in time?
We have every intention.
The crew has been working around the clock to get the ship ready. There's still so much to do.
Stuck. I got just the thing. Is that.
I thought the thing was totally fried. Nice work, Carter.
Nothing to it, Millie.
And not a moment too soon. The boss wants us down in engineering. Like, now. Come on!
Good to see her fully operational again. And if she breaks, we'll just fix her. engineering.
I heard the new XO just arrived. Won't be long before we get underway. I just hope whatever Chovak called us down for, it's something good. I can never tell with him. I'd rather not end up degaussing plasma manifolds.
What's the matter, Nilly? Afraid of a little hard work?
A little hard work? Really? A little? 6 months of putting this ship back together is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, and here we are. Just about ready to go.
Looks like we got here before.
Lieutenant Commander Chovak.
We were just looking for you, Commander.
Petty Officers Edselar, Diaz. I was beginning to think you would be late. We are all hands on deck right now, which means if you are not at your post at the appointed time, I do not have someone to replace you. A point I have been forced to make to Petty Officer Edselar on repeated occasions.
So you're saying we're irreplaceable, Commander?
That is one interpretation. Another would be that I would replace you if I could. You can interpret as you see fit.
So, I don't suppose you wanted us down here to check in before we go off duty?
Equip yourselves in EV suits to work on the exterior of the hull. I need you to tune the structural integrity field for optimal performance. The subspace distortions and ionic interference we are experiencing are preventing the proper calibration. But this ship must be ready to depart shortly, despite the storm. The precise nature of these disturbances are not fully understood.
Commander, if this energy storm is causing problems here at Space Dock, what does that say about what we're gonna find when we head out there for real? Shouldn't we let this storm pass?
Long-range sensors show that conditions will indeed be more severe at our destination, the Hotari system. Thusly, we are taking all necessary precautions. You have your orders. Do not delay.
Yes, Commander
Roger that.
Chovak. All hands on deck.
What's that?
All hands on deck. That's what Chovak said. You know what that means? It means this ship isn't ready to go out, and the brass know it. So they're throwing every warm body at it. And they're going to leave on schedule.
It all comes down to us, Nilly. We're the ones who will get it ready.
I know what we can do. But this isn't just any old refit or any old relaunch.
Oh, whoa.
Excuse me.
A lot of new faces coming on board. It's gotta be tough coming as a replacement. That's for sure.
We've been through a whole hell of a lot as a crew. They're gonna have to prove themselves before they're really one of us.
Yeah, you're right. Anyone could look serious in a clean uniform. Show me what you can do when everything's falling apart. Hold on. Now there's an old face I didn't expect to see again. Hey, Miranda!
You weren't gonna leave without me, were you?
Miranda, you're here?
We thought you were staying on the Adirondack.
Transfer came in at the last minute, so I figured I'd slum it on this bucket of bolts. Looks like you got her back together pretty nicely. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Don't talk badly about one of the best ships in all of Starfleet.
We've rebuilt enough of her by now. She better be one of the best.
We'll see about that. But I am glad to be here. He still owes me a bottle of Saurian brandy. Don't think I forgot.
Oh yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Maybe Carter can rustle up that bottle and we can give you a proper welcome. As soon as we wrap up this quick little spacewalk.
Here, let me help you.
Thanks.
So what's the word? Are you back in the security rotation?
Yep. Still running with the usual suspects.
Whoa!
Good to go. See you on the other side.
Activating magnetic souls. That view never gets old.
Let's go.
Captain Solano should be here momentarily. You'll have to forgive me, I don't know much about Kobleods. But my understanding is you need a steady supply of duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen. And we have plenty of duridium in sickbay, so there's no risk of running out.
Thank you.
Feel free to make yourself at home. And help yourself to whatever you like from the replicator.
The first mineral Captain Solano ever discovered. Always was the nostalgic type. Can't wait to plot a course myself. Just a sip of something. Rack the Geno. That sure has a kick.
Jara Rydek. Last time I saw you, it was graduation from the Academy. You'd already secured one of the most prestigious assignments possible. And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrid Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolute. My only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare.
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
You've been here all of 5 minutes, and already you're trying to make us more efficient. I like it. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
I assume you mean the accident.
That's right. The tragic accident, really. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second. The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career. Right there, within our grasp. Until it all went so horribly wrong. We pushed her too hard, and a warp core malfunction overloaded the system, creating a pressure gradient way beyond what the ship can handle. It was heartbreaking. We lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
You have to look to the future. you can't dwell on the past, on things you can't change.
There's nothing that can be done about it now. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO, and I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course of action, I need everyone to fully commit to the mission. Anything short of that just won't work. And that's when things start to go sideways.
This is your ship, and you are the captain. So as far as I'm concerned, whatever you say, goes.
That's the kind of support I'm looking for. Look, I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake. Or at least, I can't. I feel like my career is hanging in the balance here. We need a win. Something to restore the crew's confidence.
I understand.
On a more positive note, Starfleet has tasked us with what they're calling a mission of the highest priority. Escorting a senior diplomat to Hotari space. Two previously peaceful and otherwise non-aggressive civilizations now find themselves on the brink of all-out war.
So it's a peacekeeping mission.
I see it as a golden opportunity to not only prove what the Resolute and her crew are truly capable of, but also a mission for which we're uniquely qualified. This ionic storm. Our long-range sensors suggest it's several orders of magnitude stronger than anything on record. A total anomaly like nothing we've seen before. And you'll never guess where it leads.
Hotari.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details of the rendezvous.
But are we prepared to embark on the mission?
As much as I'd like to think that's true, I have my doubts. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to clarify up front. The metric that for me will be the ultimate measure of your success.
What is it?
If after serving as my first officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own, then I will consider it my personal failure. When that might happen is entirely up to you. But it goes without saying, you have my full support.
Hopefully that day comes sooner rather than later.
Pace yourself. Like I said, when it happens is entirely up to you. But first, you have to be willing to put in the work.
Of course.
Come. Let me introduce you to the crew. Everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment. I'd like to introduce Commander Jara Rydek, our new first officer. Some quick introductions. This is Lieutenant Handar, our helmsman, one of the best in the business.
One of?
Well, what he lacks in humility, he more than makes up for in ability.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander.
Likewise.
Next, we have Commander Westbrook, our Chief Science Officer. I've come to rely on his expert counsel on a regular basis.
Pleasure.
Commander Rydek, it is such an honor to meet you.
This is our tactical officer, Lieutenant Bedrosian, who's been looking forward to meeting you for about as long as I can remember.
I've been following your career for quite some time. And I look forward to learning as much as I can from you.
You've heard of me?
Well, I have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad, because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves, and you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect others who need it. I really admire that. So, you've been something of an inspiration to me. Not that I've done anything close to what you've done, but you definitely set a standard to strive for.
That's very kind of you to say, but enough about me. We have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yes, of course.
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont. Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. I have an urgent meeting with the starbase commander to get our authorization to get underway. If they drag their feet any longer, we won't make our rendezvous. The bridge is yours.
The helm. The Resolute is a refitted Centaur class, meaning it's capable of quick maneuvers. Can't wait to see what she can do. Science station. The Resolute is a science vessel, primarily. Might explain Commander Westbrook's attitude. I'll have to speak with him later. So many decks. Full of crew that are now my responsibility. Tactical station. Hopefully a diplomatic mission won't require we use our weapons much. But if it comes to that, we'll be ready. Operations. Staffing, supplies. There's a lot to keep track of on a starship. Good thing we have Commander Ermont. Communications. Keeps us in contact internally and with other vessels.
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters in response to the danger posed by the storm.
We just need your go-ahead.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field, now.
Entering maintenance mode. Condition blue.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Katarn. So that was the end of episode 1. I'm going to try to keep these to about 40 minutes or so in length, 30 to 40 minutes, the same as a regular TV episode. That way we can play through these and have fun. I'm loving it so far. I think that the graphics are pretty cool. I think the story is interesting. There is a 5-book comic book series that kind of gives you the prologue to this and lets you know what happened with it. If you haven't let on, or if you haven't caught on yet, there's a lot that they're not telling us. So I don't know how that's going to play out in the story itself, and how much the main characters will learn. But it seems really cool. I'm really excited to play through this game, and I'll be releasing these probably every couple days as an episode until I get through it. Maybe 10 or so episodes. I've been told a completionist campaign for this is about 12 hours, so we'll see how that goes. I'll also try to cut out some of the stuff that's boring to make it kind of streamlined. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments if you did. I totally appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Captain Katarn, and I will see you in the verse.